Well, hello. If you're watching this after the fact, you of course can go to 00:00 and probably jump right into the story. It's a little bit scattered this episode. A lot of things have gone down at Casa de la Sigler West Coast, or WC, if you will. We started this earlier, and a bunch of lovely people showed up, and I, in my infinite technological brilliance, forgot to unmute the microphone. I was just jabbering people, and I had forgotten to unmute the microphone. So now we're going to see. I see we have people coming back in, and there's an echo. There's reverb. All right, guys, give me a second. I'll fix that. Hopefully, I don't know. Do we still have echo and reverb? It's difficult to say. Recluse Mage, are you still hearing that echo? Hey, Tim Clark, still hearing the echo. Fucking duck. Goddamn sons of bitches, motherfuckers. All right, let me figure this out, guys. Bear with me. Hey, Sean. Hey, Cobalt. Apparently we're dealing with an echo, and I'm trying to fix it right now. And to be honest with you, I don't know exactly why we're getting that echo. So I'm going to go through and start turning shit on and off. Let's see if this works while we're at it. Whoop, shoot. Solo. Okay. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing. I'm getting signal there. We're going to stop there. We're going to hide this. Everybody's got an echo. All right, give me a second here. Again, if you watch this after the fact, fast forward. Hopefully I'll have this technological issue figured the F out. It's super confusing to me. Q2, I can turn that off. Oh wait, we go over here. Still getting an echo. Bear with me, guys. Get your beverages. Chill your tits. It's a bunch of chilled tits going on. Everybody's tits are chilled. It should be great. Monitor off, close. Yeah, thanks. What Cobalt says in the chat room, feed the algorithm, spank that like button for empty set. It may very well save your soul. You don't know. You honestly don't know what will save your soul. Chris Grawl says, popped up from Facebook. Looks like the sound is working there. Hi, Steve. Again, here we go. At 4:15. Tell me if you're still hearing the echo at 4:15, you guys. I'm doing the best I can, but it's a little bit weird. I don't know what's going on. Steve Bloomfield, I didn't say see your titties. I said chill your titties. Thanks, Recluse Mage. Still has echo. Okay, let's try that. Now, I've done one other thing. Timothy Clark says the echo sounds cool. Timothy Clark's tits are always chilled because he's from Alaska. I get it. Okay, so I fixed a thing at 3:42. Tell me if you're still hearing the echo, which is, I won't lie, it's perplexing. Is extraordinarily perplexing. Dawn has echo on both Facebook and YouTube. You see this look? This is the blank look of someone who doesn't understand technology, trying to figure out where the fucking echo could be coming from. Hi, Sci-Bi. We're trying to figure out why I have fucking echo out of nowhere. I can't quite figure it out. I'm doing the best I can. But this is the same setup we had last week, and we did not have echo, which is part of the magic. It's all part of the magic, you guys. I'm looking for any other audio business going on. Everything is turned down except for my Apollo channel, which is this mic right here. Does it help to know that the audio is very low? Maybe. Let's get that jacked up a little bit. Oh, fucking goddamn it. Now you have no echo. Fuck. Gosh darn. No, I didn't say, I said shuck, because it's a family show. At 2:22, we seem to have figured everything out. The echo is gone because it wasn't a connection issue. It's because I use my cousin, Minister Merciless, invades our home and uses the same setup to practice his singing for his incredible band, Super Weapon. And he forgot to turn off the reverb, which is necessary for going through set lists and things like that. As you can see down below, that is the Man in Black, a loss that many of us will never recover from, an absolute American icon, the outlaw himself. And that is what this episode is about. Steve Bloomfield, I'm sorry your titties are frozen. I said chill them. I didn't say freeze them. There's a temperature difference. There's a gradient. There's a differential. Some other scientific words I'm sure I can come up with. So welcome, everybody. Let me say hi to everybody who's here. Thank you, guys. It's been a shit show at Casa de la Sigler West Coast this time out. We've got a bunch of people on YouTube, Facebook filling in. We got the lovely Twitch peeps or tweeps, if you will. No one's ever on Telegram. It just, or LinkedIn. It never fucking happens. So we have a neighbor who her mother moved in with her. They're lovely people. They come over for football sometimes, but the mom had a bit of a spill earlier this afternoon and is in the hospital, hopefully okay. But when that happens, they have one gigantic dog and one normal sized dog. A and I have small dogs. And when that happens, we are on call 24/7, 365. If you need your dog taken care of, we got you. We'll go take care of that. So A and I have been going to do that. And that took some of our prep time away. And then on top of that, this story I'm reading to you guys tonight, that hopefully I get through the fucking intro without crying, is it took longer than I thought. And I was on point. I was on time. I did everything correctly. And party! And still, you know, when the story captures the creator and it takes you to places that you didn't anticipate, but you have to go to those landmarks. You fucking got to reconnoiter and go the places that the compass takes you. Sometimes that completely fucks up the schedule. Remember, we're doing this mixtape, the Scott Ziegler Slices. These things are written every week. I don't have the advantage of writing, I was going to say an 80,000 word novel, but the last time I wrote an 80,000 word novel, I was like 12. I don't have the advantage of writing a 180,000 word novel and then editing it and polishing it and chopping it up and getting it out to you guys. This is a bit more raw. And unfortunately, the current millennials have stolen the word raw and turned into raw dog, and it means a thing that raw dog doesn't actually mean, which is like, I'm going to raw dog this podcast. I'm going to pay attention for almost an hour. I'm like, bro, my friend, that's not what raw dog means. That's not what raw dog means. We don't need to go into that. You can look it up on Urban Dictionary if you so choose. Recluse Mage asks, aren't some of your ideas from the vault? Yes, they are. Because some of these songs have inspired stories many, many years ago. And those stories went into our Ninux database. Ninux is a do-it-yourself database system. Some of them are so old, they went into, it was a FileMaker program. All you the olds in the house, old programmers, there was a user-based FileMaker that we could, FileMaker Bento, I can't remember, but I handcrafted from FileMaker a database to track all of my story ideas. We then, when that went out of business, they didn't do it, we ported that over to a thing called Ninux. And all of these stories are in Ninux. So yes, some of them are from the vault. Bento, thank you, A. Kovacs. Some of them are from the vault, some of them pop in just because I fucking hear a song. I'm a very musically inclined person. Music is a huge part of my life, which you'll see when I try to get through this intro. And so some of them pop up immediately. Other ones are stuff I've had in my mind for a very, very long time. But Sci-Bi, cheers. I don't remember seeing Sci-Bi in the house before. Anybody in the chat remember Sci-Bi? If not, Sci-Bi, this scotch is for you. Renee Rice, hello from California. Renee Rice is another person I don't recall seeing recently, but delighted to have you all here. So I'm just going to slip through the chat room. I'm going to shout out. Here's what I'm going to do. Before I start reading, what I'm going to do is Big Pharma voice, rapid speaking, saying hello to everyone, and asking you not to sue us if your bowels explode. Here we go. Recluse Mage, Cobalt USA, Edward Rocco, Don Shipley, William Curtis, welcome, hello. You couldn't hear me before, you can hear me now. Brian Leach, Cobalt USA. This is not working out. This isn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. Timothy Clark, freezing his tits off in Alaska. Sean Dyer. Who else we got? This is Martin Evans. Chris Grawl in the house. He's an author. He's awesome dude. Awesome dude. Happy birthday, Chris Grawl. I don't know if I have the right day or not, but whatever. Fuck it. Chris Grawl. Mike Wurs. Did someone say titties? And now my bit is completely destroyed. Yes, Mike Wurs. Someone said titties. And Big Nasty's, maybe Big Nasty's in the house because I had to shut this down. We got all these, God, look at all these lovely, Rivas Mele just came in, don't have any echo. Hello, I don't recognize that name either, but YouTube sometimes takes the usernames I usually see and puts in another name. So who the F knows? Don Shipley loves from Johnny Cash. All right, we're moving on. Steven's in the house. Renee Rice in the house. Who am I missing? Anybody? If I didn't say your name, oh, Christine's in the house. If I didn't say your name, don't worry about it. Goose Mage, it has not yet begun to go off the rails, my friend. Dr. T in the house. Big Nasty checking in. All right, guys. Here we go. Empty Set Entertainment is not responsible for loss or stolen innocence or perforated bowels of any way, shape, or form. Dr. T knows what's up because, doctor. All right, here we go. So, I am good with the horror. I'm good with the sci-fi. There are certain elements of the human existence and emotions and shit that frankly, I'm not all that fucking good with. So, boy, that picture looks like ass, you guys. Hold on. Yes, the fucking chill your tits. Let me get back to, see if I can get back to, I've got a face cam. One. Oh, shit. There it is. There we go. Great. At least now it's not quite so, you don't have to look at like this side of my nose in exquisite detail. Calidor's throwing us a little bit of scratch. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you. Hey, mate, have always been a big fan. Had life going on, but now the wife has listened to all the GFL with me. Massive win. What's up? What's up? Yes, it is absolutely a massive win. I also have a wife who has listened to all of the GFL. And I'm going to tell you, having a spouse who's into what you're into, even if it's not all the way in, but like enough in that you can enjoy it together, that's fucking heaven, bro. That is heaven. So, Calidor's, welcome. Thank you again for the treat. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do the best I can with this shit. Because it's frankly, it's fucking upsetting. Christine, real quick, what are we working on these days? GFL 7, final draft. 14% of the way through the final draft. It's looking like a 170,000 word novel, which is gigantic. Warpath, which is 140,000, was supposed to be out in March. You guys hear it first. It will not be out in March. It'll be out in like August. I've just gotten the word on that. Ray Porter, we're trying to get Ray to record it, and we don't know. And then, of course, Crypt Book 2. Ray Porter has just finished recording the Crypt Book 2. The publication date has been on hold because I'm not putting the fucking ebook or print book out until Ray is done with the recording. And Ray was overwhelmed with projects and a lot of things going on. He recorded Project Hail Mary, which is coming out in March in the movies. And Ray's having a moment and having a difficult time in some other areas. He's just slammed. We waited for Ray. So you're going to get Crypt Book 2 in ebook, hardcover, and audiobook all at the same time. We do not yet have a publication date. On top of that, we've got Slay Book 2 coming out in 2026, and maybe Slay Book 3 and 4, ebook, audiobook, hardcover. That's what's going on right now. You are just basically going to have an eargasm or eyegasm all year long and just shuddering from all the sexy times I am delivering to you. All right, here we go. Enough of that shit. Let's get into it. I don't think this is going to go very well. Let's see how professional I am. Now recording. Check, check, check. Looks good. Let's get our script up. Let's get our camera. Cue camera. Cue script. Here we go, guys. Let's get into it. Trent Reznor. They're off. That fucking 7 to 15 second delay screws things up all the time. Here we go. Let's try it again. Now we start. Trent Reznor, the genius behind 9 Inch Nails, wrote the song Hurt at the height of his own spiral, a confession carved out of self-loathing and numbness. A man sifting through the wreckage he had made of himself. In his hands, this song, released in 1994, was an intimate autopsy. Industrial, hollow, soaked in the cold fluorescence of addiction and despair. It was a young man's confrontation with ruin, the voice of someone who believed he was already beyond saving. Every line was a wound, and Reznor never pretended otherwise. But when Johnny Cash covered it, the song transformed. It aged. It deepened. It became a haunting ode to a time lost that could never be recaptured. In 2002, Rick Rubin, the legendary producer behind everyone from the Beastie Boys and Slayer to Jay-Z and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, produced Cash's album, The American 4, The Man Comes Around. Rubin chose Hurt for Cash because Rubin recognized in its raw confession the perfect vessel for an old outlaw's final reckoning. Cash recorded his version of Hurt near the end of his life. Body failing, eyesight fading, the world he had built with June Carter narrowing as her health faltered beside his. The Reaper had not yet arrived on the threshold, but he had dismounted and tied his black horse to the front porch of the Man in Black's house. At that moment, the end was inevitable, and Cash knew it. His legendary bass voice, cracked, thinned, resolute, turned Reznor's techno-metal gut punch from a confession into a reckoning. It was no longer the song of a young man terrified of becoming a ghost. It was a ballad of an aging king, looking back on the kingdom he had carved out of nothing, watching the empire he had forged wither, corrode, and collapse bolt by bolt. Months after recording the now legendary video, June died. Cash had found his soulmate, his partner. And when June was gone, his will to fight sagged. Because, why bother? A life without her was a life of emptiness. Cash followed his beloved to the other side soon after her passing, leaving Hurt as his accidental epitaph. One last, brutal truth from a man who had carried his sins longer than most people live. Cash's version of this song crushed my heart. The video remains something I just can't ever watch again. In its stoic progression, all I see are the future tombstones of my mom, my dad, my wife, and all that I've ever loved. Because, as Reznor penned, and the man in black sliced into the fabric of forever, everyone I know goes away in the end. When I heard the song, I had visions of a desperate choice, an impossible responsibility of 4 women tasked with literally everything. Reznor, Rubin, and Cash stirred within me a tale of broken thoughts a million miles away and things that can't be repaired. And now, I will read to you my story, Hurt. Holes among the freckles. Puckers of fading, angry red, scattered among the spots that she had been born with. Centuries ago, she'd been much better at the needle. Centuries ago? No. Millennia ago. It was now, she was pretty sure, millennia. Back then, she had been patient, meticulous. Back then, she had cared. It was getting harder and harder to care. But it had to be done. Everything rode on her shoulders. Literally everything. She tapped her finger against the needle's tip. Sharp enough to do the job. Not as sharp as it used to be. It had worn down. That was the way of things. The inevitability of things. The entropy of things. Because eventually, everything wore down. Literally everything. Including her, including this place. She looked at the needle. If she jammed it straight into her eye, could she kill herself? Kachina, what's the name of the bone right behind the eye? The gurgle sound. Like someone on their hands and knees, sucking up the last dredges of moisture from a puddle in a shallow rock depression. Or the last bit of water in a drying tide pool. When had that gurgle sound started? It was hard to know. Time had become irrelevant. That would be the sphenoid bone. That would be the sphenoid bone, Kachina said. The sphenoid bone. Of course. Kachina, can a 20-gauge needle penetrate the sphenoid? Could it penetrate into my brain? Could it kill me? Was the question that went unasked. The likelihood of a 20-gauge needle breaching the sphenoid is low, Avera. Very low. It would enter the globe of the eye, rupture the vitreous chamber, lacerate the retina, and shear the optic nerve. That much is achievable, though profoundly unpleasant. As for the sphenoid itself. The gurgle sound again. Someone, somewhere, was thirsty. Somewhere, some time, maybe? Copy lines 24 through 16, Kachina said, which didn't make sense, but that was the way of things. Copy check, copy check, copy check. Avera, a 20-gauge needle lacks the rigidity and momentum to cleanly pierce the sphenoid. You would blind yourself, certainly, but death is not a guaranteed outcome. Not guaranteed. You can't win them all, it seemed. Avera, if you are experiencing thoughts of self-harm, I am required to intervene. You should notify Marissaline. I can notify her for you if you prefer. I can also provide cognitive stabilization resources to address these errant thoughts. Would you like me to do that for you, Avera? What Avera wanted was to be free. What Avera wanted was for Kachina to die. Marissaline. Marissaline. Tears surged forward. Tears Avera had thought dried out long ago. Tears that came because she couldn't remember what Marissaline looked like. What did she look like? What did she look like? It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. All she had left, and she was hungry, so fucking hungry, and she didn't want to eat. She wanted to die, and she wanted Kachina to die. They wanted to die together. It wasn't fair. How much did she have to fucking sacrifice? How much did she have to sacrifice? And she could look at the images and remember, Marissaline's face, but she shouldn't have to look at the images. The tooth. The chipped tooth. Avera remembered. She put the needle to her skin, to a small space that was neither freckle nor puckered echo of a past injection. She watched that old needle make a divot. She closed her eyes. She focused on that chipped tooth as she pushed, as the needle tore a hole. As she felt that familiar sting, Avera remembered. The chipped tooth. Marissaline had a weird mouth. Some kind of accident from when she had been a child. A child older than the Blessings, but years younger than she was now. Technically, centuries younger. Or was it millennia? A weird mouth. When Marissaline smiled, it was only the left side of her face. Mostly. But when she was stressed, or agitated, or pissed, or afraid, which she was now, it twisted the right side of her mouth and revealed that right incisor, which had been chipped in that same accident. Avera couldn't get enough of that face. Avera was so sick of that face. Thalindra is gone, Marissaline said. She died in Chrono. Inaccurate. No one died in Chrono. They couldn't. You can't die when time doesn't exist. You died going in or coming out. Avera felt numb and as cold as the hull. The mothers knew this was a one-way mission. They had known that when they volunteered, when they had endured idiotic testing. The needles, the tissue samples, the intelligence exams, the emotional evaluations, the moral quandaries, and the story problems. Fucking story problems. The mothers knew the score. Stay alive as long as possible. Propagation. Rebirth. It will be all right, Ishara said. Ishara sounded like it would most definitely not be all right. But that was Ishara's way. She thought she was tough. She thought she was as malleable as the ally stores. She could form into any needed shape or purpose. Endlessly reliable. Emotionless. Ishara was a fucking idiot. And to think, The future of humanity rested within that idiot's mind. Avera was so sick of Ashara's face. So sick of that face. It will be all right, Ashara said again. Kachina, will it be all right? Oh, sure. Ask that asshole. Thalindra's Ross is significant, Kachina said. It is appropriate that you grieve for them. They serve the mission. Propagation is all. Their record will remain preserved. Fucking pronouns. Now? Maybe only those with an actual pulse could understand context and timing. Kachina had once had a pulse, supposedly, but no more. Quantates didn't have a pulse. We're still with intolerances, Marceline said. Right, Kachina? Are we still with intolerances? That was Avera's question to ask, but Avera didn't give a shit. No one could season syrup the way Thalindra had. She'd even showed everyone how to do it. Trouble was, a pinch of this and a pinch of that, it wasn't scientific. It wasn't reproducible. Reproduction. Why did everything come down to reproduction? So stupid. To think that Avera could have stayed behind, had a real death, a real life. Scotch, sex, football, the kind that use actual feet, drugs, go out in flames. Better to burn up than to fade away. Unfortunately, she had chosen the latter. We remain on course, Kachina said. The rebirth awaits. Systems are nominal. Mission parameters remain valid. 96.7% of the blessing remains viable. Oh, yes. The blessing. Of course. Those lives mattered. The mother's lives, not so much. Ashara squinted. Avera knew that look. Ashara was trying to do math in her head. Idiot. Math was for the quantate. Ashara's last chrono wake had not gone well. Some of her processing became a casualty. That means... Ashara rubbed at her eyes, hard enough to poke them out. But that means... Kachina, is that 33,000 blessings gone? That number cut through Avera's bitter fugue. 33,000. That was a fucking city. A city of people who had never lived. That is correct, Kachina said. And well within specified tolerances, Ashara. In fact, it is above expectations. Isn't that wonderful? Avera felt sick. And not just because of the syrup they'd had the privilege of eating during wake cycles. Kachina sounded downright chipper. Like losing an entire city's worth of babies was something to be happy about. It didn't matter that Kachina wasn't real, because she was a stupid cunt. Yes, that is good, Marceline said. We're above expectations. She looked at Ashara, then at Avera. We were supposed to lose half the mothers by now, right? We're above expectations there, too. I'm sorry Thalindra's gone, and I will miss her, but we all know the truth. Only one of us needs to make it to rebirth. Only one. Right, Avera? Marceline smiled. Left side, chipped tooth hidden. Avera wanted to punch that bitch. Avera wanted to kiss that bitch. Sometimes the silver lining is the only thing between hope and the end. Ashera had broken gears. Marissaline had broken gears. Because living 1,000 years broke gears. Everything wore out. Literally everything. Sure, Avera said. Only one of us. Right, is she? Ashera winced. She didn't like that nickname. Who the fuck doesn't like a nickname? Even after 1,000 years, Ashera still had a spanner jammed up her ass. Sure, Avera said. Sure, Ashara said, mimicking Avera's pronunciation of the word. Mimicking Avera's pronunciation of the word. Only one of us. One mother births a world. Did she have to use that line of scripture? It was all bullshit. All of it. Humanity's survival didn't require religious trappings. Avera wanted to pull that imaginary spanner out of Ashera's ass and crush her skull with it. Avera wanted to hurt Ashara. Avera wanted to hurt everything. We have much to do, Marissaline said. 2 weeks, relative, to get it all done. We will mourn Felindra, but we will not be sad. She was a mother. She is part of the rebirth. Despair is not an option. Avera felt her lip curl of its own accord. Despair is not an option. Another line of scripture. Marissaline believed. Sometimes it was hard to love someone so gullible. And yet, what options were there? There was no one else left to love. Better to love those you hate than to not love at all. Sure, Avera said. You're right, Doc. Let's get to work. Chronowake burned. It hurt. Avera rubbed her tongue against the roof of her mouth. Tasted like shit. Did she know what shit tasted like? Well, she knew what syrup tasted like. Or rather, she remembered what syrup tasted like. It tasted horrible. And she wished she had some syrup, because she would rather have that garbage than the stuff that kept her alive now. How old was she? How old? Kachina, are you there? Avera hoped there would be no answer. She hoped that soulless demon was dead and gone as the syrup machine. Because eventually, everything wore out. Literally, everything. I am here, Avera, Kachina said. Good morning, Mother. Avera had thought that she didn't want to hear that voice, but she had been wrong. The Quantate was the only voice left. Without it, the unbearable loneliness would swallow her up. Lonely. Hungry. Kachina, how old am I? The gurgle sound. The sound of shit sliding down a pipe. The sound of evil. No one was supposed to live this long. Avera, my sweet, that question isn't really what you want to know right now. It wasn't? Avera blinked the crust out of her eyes. Chronowake hurt. She didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't fair. It wasn't. She had given all. How much more did she have to give before she could rest? You need your injection, my sweet, Kachina said. Rise and shine, mother. Rise and shine. So nice. Kachina was so nice. And she was still here. Everyone else had gone. Everyone goes away in the end. Everyone except Kachina. Yes, Avera said. The needle. I'm getting up. A distant part of her, a part millions of light years away, a part that had burned to a cinder along with all existence, remembered another mother, a real mother, Avera's mother. Her black hair, the way she smelled, like soap. Mother, a real mother, telling Avera to get up for school. And Avera asking, pleading, to stay in bed. Just 10 minutes more, Mama. Avera, sweetheart, it's time to get up. There's work to be done. A shearing of two existences. Mama's voice was wrong. Avera blinked awake. She had fallen asleep. Real sleep. I'm up, she said. I'm up. She pushed herself to a sitting position. Her back ached. Something was kinked in her shoulder and her neck. Had it felt like that when she had gone in? She couldn't remember. Maybe a part of her hadn't made it out. Maybe she had broken gears in her head. Like Ashara. Like Marissaline. How long had it been? It was impossible to know. Time was a pebble, skipping off a pond. Skipping infinite distances with only rippling spots to mark one moment from the next. Some spots contained Marissaline, some did not. Most did not. Why be in a place where Marissaline was not? Why? Avera, you lazy girl, get up! Why? Because there was work to be done. The dirt farm. The blessings. The rebirth. The needle is ready, Kachina said. Please perform the injection, sweetheart. Quickly, before it's too late. Too late. Had the quantate said that before? Maybe. Maybe days ago. Maybe years ago. Maybe decades ago. Maybe centuries ago. How long since she had seen Marissaline? And what had Marissaline looked like? The end and the hopelessness and the blackness blossomed like living poison and wrapped its coarse petals around Avera, hugged her. The embrace no one wants that carries everyone off into the nothing. Time was a pebble skipping off a pond. Kachina, how old am I? Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. That's not the question you should be asking, my sweet, Kachina said. You should be asking, what can I do to bring about the rebirth? I have hevex. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Transcribing quantum states 37 through 62. Periodic, falsified, erroneous. Avera hugged her own shoulders. Everything wore out eventually. Literally everything. It wasn't fair. Why her? Why her? Oh, Vera, I have a to-do list that will make you so happy, Mother. So happy. Let's get to work. Let's get to work. Vera remembered someone saying that. Someone with a chipped tooth. Ishara is gone, Marceline said. She died in Chrono. Inaccurate. No one died in Chrono because they couldn't. Marceline knew that. You can't die when time doesn't exist. Vera didn't feel cold. Not exactly. She didn't feel numb. Not exactly. She felt nothing. 2 mothers left. 2. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? If no one is left that remembers trees, did any of them ever make a sound? And if no one is left at all, had anything ever made a sound? Vera didn't want to think like that. She liked music. She liked counting cards. She liked scotch. She liked Philindra's syrup seasoning. But the syrup was gone. So was Philindra. So was Ishara. Vera looked at Marissaline. She loved that face. She hated that face. Vera, my sweet, please, Marissaline said, chipped tooth peeking out. Please don't stare like that. You're all I have left. You're all that is left. Fear burbling in that voice. Such a nice voice. A burr in the lower mid-range. A burr that was simultaneously over-serious and full of endless love. Endless. Like space. Now that was endless. People, though, people had an expiration date. Philindra and now Ishara. Which mother would be next? Vera hoped she was next. Because she didn't want to be in a universe that didn't have Marissaline in it. Didn't want it, couldn't handle it. Vera's grandmother had died in her own bed, surrounded by children and grandchildren. Vera's mother had died with Vera holding her frail hand, stroking her paper-thin skin. Vera telling her mother that she had done an amazing job, that her only child was going to save all of humanity, going to stop millions of years of progress from being snuffed out, from being forgotten, lost to time. Because of Vera, the pebble would continue to skip and not plunge beneath the surface. Vera, please. That lower mid-burr reached into the nothing, touched Vera's wish for this horrible burden to end, and stroked the few heartstrings that remained intact. Without Vera, Marissaline was lost, which also wasn't fair. How much was one supposed to give? How much was one supposed to sacrifice? Was there no end? Perhaps there was, but not now. Not when Marissaline needed her. In all of existence, only 2 people remained. If Marissaline passed, Vera knew she could go on. If Vera passed, she knew Marissaline could not. It wasn't fair, and that didn't matter. Vera took Marissaline's hand. I'm here, Marissaline said. I'm here, Mother. Mariceline's last shreds of strength dissolved. She held Avera, put her head on Avera's shoulder so abruptly, so desperately, that Avera wondered for a moment if her collarbone had cracked. Mariceline cried. She had nothing left to give, which meant Avera had to carry the burden, the impossible burden. Without rebirth, no one would know what Mariceline had endured. And for that memento, for that eventual heroic epitaph, Avera would endure. Kachina, Avera said, as she stroked Mariceline's thinning hair. Where are we? Mariceline cried. Avera held her. We remain on course, Mother, Kachina said. I have prepared injections for you and Mariceline. It seems our good doctor is upset, so please ensure you address their injection after you do your own. Inject, egthalak. What had Kachina said? It wasn't a word. Was something breaking down? Or already broken? 1 million babies on board, buried in the dirt, a version of the same medium contained in the injections that kept Avera and Mariceline alive. 1 million babies, and the quantate was breaking down? Avera's soul shuddered. Maybe Ashara could have fixed it, but Ashara had been gone for 1,000 years. It wasn't fair. This wasn't Avera's job. She wanted to go into Chrono and never come out. Mariceline cried. Her body shook. Avera pulled her closer. In some ways, in the important ways, Avera knew there were not 2 mothers left. There was only one. Injections, Kachina said, the bitch's voice once again bright, a bell tone of positivity and hope. Then food. The syrup system is showing malfunctions. I will do my best to system check and provide you with a repair process. But do not worry, mothers. We have syrup in store. Ashara's passing means the remaining syrup will last 33% longer. Isn't that wonderful? Avera wished Kachina was real. Wished Kachina had a face that could be kicked. I see, Avera said. What is the status of the blessing? A sound like someone sucking the bottom of a milkshake through bent straw. Milkshakes. Avera remembered the concept, the coolness, the texture. But what did milkshakes taste like? She couldn't remember that part. We are well above projections, Kachina said. 72.6% of the blessing remains viable. Isn't that wonderful? Avera closed her eyes, tried to focus beyond the soft sobs of all that she cared for, of all she lived for, the only link to reality that remained. Isn't that wonderful? The maths. They didn't work. How long had she gone between skips? 100 years? And what was a year? What was a year when the star and the orbit that defined it was so far away that that star's light would never, ever reach where the ship was now? Kachina, how much is that? The percent, you said. The percent. Numbers aren't important, Avera, the quantate said. Tolerances are what matters, and we are doing very well with tolerances. Very well. Avera's head felt thick with mold. Gears jammed. Nothing worked. This was a Shara's job, or Marissaline's. Marissaline knew numbers, but Marissaline's tears and snot and spit wetted Avera's shoulder. Give me a number, Avera said. That is an order. How many babies are dead? Don't fuck with me, Kachina. You don't want to find out what happens if you fuck with me. In that moment, Avera realized that she had power. The power of a god of death and destruction. Had anyone in history ever possessed the power that she now possessed? No. In all of human existence, her power was unparalleled. That gurgling sound again, that hopeless sound, but only a sliver of it, a snapshot warning that hope wasn't a real thing, that time would run out, that it would all end. 274,422 blessings are non-viable, Kachina said. We are still well above projected tolerances, Avera. It is a thing to be celebrated. You must get your injections, Avera. It is important. Can you do that for me now? Can you perform the injections? Marissaline cried. Avera stroked her hair. It wasn't fair. Why her? Why her? Because her mother, her real mother, had raised her right. That was why. Yes, Kachina, Avera said. I'll do our injections. And that is part one. I'm so dramatic. Oh my God. Whew. That's some tough shit, you guys. I mean, for me it is. I don't know about you guys. There we go. We're done. Now we're going to move on to some fun shit. But we will be back in the next episode with Hurt Part 2. Hopefully there won't be any dust in the air and shit like that. It's a really hard story for me to be because I'm channeling in some of my own, mortality, the mortality of others. And, if you want to get philosophical, at some point, billions of years from now, our star will expand and burn the earth to a cinder, right? This is inevitable. And by that time, if by some absolute fluke of probability, there are still humans on Earth, which I don't think there will be, there will be an impetus of the fuck do we do now? And by that time, you hope, of course, everybody has propagated and rebirthed to other areas in the universe. So, thanks, hon. Let me get the chat up. But it's not just that. It's not just billions of years away. It's completely within our lifetime. Everybody who's like hearing the sound of my voice right now, it is within the possibility in our lifetime that we're going to get fucking crazy here. And, we're going to have to go somewhere else because where we have shit where we sleep in the broader sense of the term. And you got to go. When you got to go, you got to go. Hi, baby. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Let me see if I can get this. I'm all jacked up. You look at that camera, even though there's no. Hold tight. Oh, get your mic out. Why we do that? Hold on, guys.
I got that. You do this, and I've got the next two things.
Okay, we should have it now. Hopefully it'll pop back up. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
You were going through it.
That's a hard read, dude.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know. To me, that's a hard read.
Yes.
To me, that's a hard read.
Yeah. No.
Okay, let's get this. I don't know if you guys are aware. I'm fairly enamored with this human on my right here. And, oh, shit. When you move your mic, then I'll unmute you.
Yep. I need headphones and...
Do you not have headphones yet?
I don't think I have headphones.
You should
Oh,
have
I
mic
might
on?
have mic.
Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Hi, guys. Or hi, guys. Well, hi, guys.
Babe, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. And your sound should be where it was last week, so
Yeah.
you should have to get right all up in that bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Great.
You have to switch off before we
Switch off what?
and go to the next stream.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Hang on first, baby.
You know better than to kiss me and make me all.
I kissed
all
your cheek
fucking
for that
emotional
reason.
and sensitive and shit, dude.
I wasn't ready.
I'm made of iron. When I don't cry, I fucking rust. You know what I'm saying, motherfuckers. Anyways,
I feel
Calidor
like
says
crying
my
is a
wife says
lot
hello, but we have to go to
better.
work. You guys have a great day at work, a great night at work. I don't know what you do. What do you do, Calidors? By the way, tell us what you do that you're going to work at. I assume 10 p.m. if you're on the East Coast. I don't know.
Can't quite see the avatar photo there, and I don't think if you click on it, it'll help.
Dr. T says, for once, A's mic's nice and loud because I unmuted it. Because I have powers over electrons and audio waves and controllers. Much love, you guys. Amy and the wife will read you if I'll see it. Okay, bye, Calidors. We'd love to know what you do, that you're going to work at this time of night. It'd be fun.
There we
Here
go.
we go.
That's
Now
a little bit
do
better.
this and
Yeah.
scooch, just shift to your left.
Okay, I can.
There's a shift to the left line. Like it was broken, twitching and itching,
There
kind
we
of like it
go.
was smoking. Crazy whack funky. People say you look like I'm saying, man, crack Humpty. It's supposed to look like fit or commotion. There we go. Now we're cooking. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Oh, Australia. Okay. Good
8
day.
o'clock, chilling with your faves. Nice.
Jude in the house. What's up?
No, 11 for you.
Okay. Everybody's randomly typing what time it is, where they live. It's
Well,
great.
because Caldors was trying to tell you that it wasn't a strange time they were going to work. It was more that it was time to go to
like
work.
morning time there.
I'm guessing.
Anyways, Caldors, go on with your wife. Enjoy the GFL. Please join us again if you can. That'd be great. We were happy to see you. Okay, let's get notes up. And now we got to switch on over. I'm going through it, dude.
I know.
I'm having emotions and shit.
Feel bad. It was a rough time.
I'm having emotions and shit.
Oh my goodness.
Having some
Oh yeah,
issues
go
with
Army.
with my parents right now, you guys. It's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, so why don't we
Can I
go
get
to
this? Can I get this
the
up? This view, Zoom. Is there a Zoom? Oh, there we go. All right, guys. Now we are going to tap out for a moment. Well, first we're going to do, I think we got housekeeping.
Do you want to do housekeeping now?
We're going to do house.
Okay.
Sorry about that. A little burp. We're going to
I didn't do any of the housekeeping.
do
I was
recluse
rushing.
mage. It's philosophical, not physical. When it's physical, you guys won't even fucking see me. I'll be fucking crawling into a
You'll
hole.
see me.
When when my parents are on their way out or my dogs are on their way out, forget it. You're not going to see. I'm just not going to be around. Let's see. So let's do housekeeping.
Yeah, I'm not sure any of this is right though, babe.
Oh, you didn't update it?
No, because I was rushing because of the dogs next door and stuff.
You guys don't get no goddamn housekeeping.
Just know we posted everything on scottsigler.com in the past week, and we will post this on Sunday.
We're going to get to it. Oh, wait. I got to stop the fucking recording. Jesus.
Still.
Save. Now I'm going to do this before we get rolling. I have to do new.
While he's saying this, I will say we are doing 1,000 things right now, as we all are, right? It's Christmas time, it's holiday time. No matter where you are in the world, even if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you're still doing all the things for Christmas time. I'm lucky enough that I get to say that my brother and sister-in-law are coming out for Christmas in a couple of weeks. And we've been chatting quite a lot and planning for that. My folks are hosting 12 people total. And I and my sister-in-law, well, all of us lean heavily into that. So we've been working a lot on that. And then I am lucky enough that my best friend in the world and her husband moved to San Diego in January, and they're hosting a New Year's Eve party I'm helping with.
Check. Yeah, I think
So
it
it's
looks,
been
I think
that
it looks
the
pretty
whole
good.
the whole way down.
say something else?
Yeah, it is. Recluse
That's
Mage,
where you
it's
wanna be.
not
That's
a
your voice
big
right there.
family gathering exactly, but it is a chosen family gathering, which I love.
John Boone says multi-scattered. All right, guys, chill your tits, except those who froze your tits off. Sorry, Stephen. Froze your tits off earlier during the tit chilling phase. So hold tight. We're going to be right back. Give us un moment.
All right. So the changeover, you're toggling all off.
And we stop streaming, right? That's your goddamn dog.
I know. You can just open that door. She'll come in.
Okay. I will do that 1 second. Let me first toggle everyone. We'll be right back. Be ready to come back and join us.